No plans to postpone Kogi Bayelsa gubernatorial polls, INEC assures political parties. Senate announced date for passage of 2020 budget. And Israel-led airstrike kills Palestinian militant leader. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Fidalia Aguncha. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has dismissed reports of a plot to postpone the Kogi State governorship election by 2 weeks. The Kogi State People's Democratic Party Campaign Council had accused the All Progressives Congress and the Kogi State government of plotting to reschedule the election from November 16 to the 30th of November. Speaking through the spokesperson of its campaign council, Austin Okai, the PDP claimed that the planned shift was to allow the APC rig the poll in favor of their candidate. But reacting to the statement, INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu, through his Chief Press Secretary, Rotimi Oyekomi, dismissed the claim, stating that the elections will go on as planned. Incumbent Kogi State Governor and candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Yahaya Bello, is seeking a second term in office. Meanwhile, the Federal High Court in Abuja has disqualified the deputy governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Bayelsa State, Bio Barakuma Deji Eremeyo, from taking part in the November 16 governorship election. In a judgment delivered on Tuesday, the court held that Deji Eremeyo provided conflicting information in his documents submitted to the Electoral Commission, INEC. The PDP had asked the court to regard the discrepancies in Deji Eremeyo's certificate as major impediments to his candidacy. The PDP alleged in its case brought before Justice Iyang Ekwo that while Deji Eremeyo's name was written as Deji Biobara in his primary school certificate, the document from his secondary education bore Adeji Biobarakumo as his name, while that of his university education had Deji Biobarakuma as his name. Also, the PDP said the result of his MBA certificate had Deji Biobarakuma Wagaha as his name, the name of the same person. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has assured that the National Assembly will pass the 2020 appropriation bill on or before November 28, 2019. Senate President Ahmed Lawan gave the assurance on Tuesday after he directed the Senate Committee on Appropriations to submit its report on the 2020 budget proposal on November 26, 2019. The Senate President stated that the committee's compliance to submit the report on November 26 would facilitate the passage of the 2020 budget on November 28 before the National Assembly proceeds on Christmas break.
It's now in the court of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, the only committee standing at the moment. All the committees have done their work so well and have worked within the defined parameters, and therefore we expect the Appropriations Committee to galvanize into action and produce the report to be laid here on the 26th of November, next 2 weeks before the Senate, and I believe that it's going to be the same thing in our sister chamber in the House of Representatives, so that we are able to pass the Appropriation Bill 2020 on the 28th of November by the grace of God.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has reintroduced a bill seeking the establishment of a national commission for the prohibition of hate speeches. The bill is sponsored by the senator representing Niger North, Aliyu Sabi, and it passed first reading during plenary on Tuesday. The 8th Senate had tried to pass the same bill in 2017 without much success. The bill had proposed that any person found guilty of any form of hate speech that result in the death of another person shall die by hanging upon conviction. The bill was introduced at the 8th Senate by the same lawmaker, but it failed to scale through second reading. Speaker of Gombe State House of Assembly, Shuaibu Adamu Haruna, has been impeached. Haruna was removed by 21 members of the House during Tuesday's plenary at the legislative chamber of the assembly in Gombe, the state capital. However, the reason for his impeachment has yet to be known. Following his removal, the lawmakers elected C.D. Buba to represent Kwame West's state constituency to replace Haruna as a new deputy speaker of the House. Officials of the Department of State Services DSS on Tuesday dispersed protesters demanding the release of Omoyele Sowore, convener of the hashtag Revolution Now movement. The security agency reportedly opened fire on the protesters who had converged at its headquarters in Abuja. Addressing journalists afterwards, civil rights activist Deji Adeyanju charged President Muhammadu Buhari to obey the order of the Federal High Court in Abuja and release Sowore on bail. He also alleged that he was offered the sum of 1 million naira by some persons to suspend the protest. Take a listen.
Here we are, despite all the intimidation, harassment, and threats. We have come on a working day. Release Sowore, our brother, to us. Yes. Release Omoyele Sowore now. And Bakare to us.
Yes. Now.
The court has already ruled that they should be released. You have acknowledged that indeed the court has ruled. Yes. Why, so President Muhammadu Buhari, why are you doing all this? Why are you turning the law upside down?
I wonder.
President Muhammadu Buhari, why have you decided to ask the jurisdiction of the court? Please, so the money they gave us, we don't want, because it was given to us at gunpoint. We don't want the money, they should take their money before the end of today. If they don't take their money before the end of today, we are going to give it to Femi Falana so that he can use it to augment part of the legal bills of Sowore.
And the expenses.
And the expenses.
Lagos today, Abuja tomorrow,
Abuja today and all that.
Yeah.
So for us, our hearts are always true to the cause. Like I have said, some of these things that we do will come at serious risk. Some people have said they will kill me. Yes. If they kill me, am I the first Nigerian to be killed? No. Will I be the last Nigerian to be killed? No.
The sacred trial of journalist and rights activist Agba Jalingo commenced today at the Calabar Division of the Federal High Court. Journalists filming the setup of a stage for the masquerade witnesses scheduled to testify at the trial were chased out of the court premises by court officials and policemen. 3 lawyers in Jalingo's defense team were also asked to leave the courtroom at the instance of the prosecution counsel, Dennis Tahemba, and likewise the correctional officers who accompanied Jalingo from the custodial center were also asked out of the courtroom. The trial started on Tuesday afternoon after the court upheld its decision to try Jalingo in secret. Jalingo is standing trial on charges bordering on conspiracy, terrorism, treasonable felony, and attempts to topple the Cross River State government. The election tribunal sitting in Lagos State has declared the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Kolawole Taiwo, winner of the Federal House of Representatives seat of Ajeromi Ifelodun constituency in the state. The 3-man tribunal chaired by Kunaza Hamid dismissed the petition of the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Rita Oji that the rerun election at Ajeromi Ifelodun was marred by violence, malpractices, as testified by 3 witnesses. It would be recalled that INEC had declared the February 23rd House of Representative election in the constituency inconclusive, giving overvoting, non-compliance with the usage of smart card readers, and violence as reasons. The petitioners alleged that Oji was the winner after the election of February 23, 2019, and that INEC illegally cancelled the result of the election in 71 polling units.
I thank God, and I also want to stretch my hands of fellowship to my opponent. There is time for everything. A time for contest, a time for celebration. This time for us to have a sober reflection and think about Ajegunle, that together we can take Ajegunle to the next level. Let me also use this opportunity to thank my supporters and plead with them that this is not the end, but the beginning of good things to come.
The Nigerian government needs to commit huge resources into fighting pneumonia to save millions of children under the age of 5. International child rights organization Save the Children made this charge in Abuja while commemorating the 2019 World Pneumonia Day. Tunji Oye has more in this next report.
802,000 children died globally of pneumonia in 2018, more than any other disease. While diarrhea is responsible for 437,000 child deaths within the same year, malaria snatched 272,000 children under 5. Nigeria records 162,000 deaths out of the 802,000, making the country the highest with pneumonia deaths in 2018.
On this World Pneumonia Day, we're not just trying to draw the world's attention to the scale of the problem, but we're trying to attract the attention of governments to understanding that there are solutions out there that could just save so many of these lives. Now, the global statistics never really tell the human story, but the statistics are really awful. There are about 800,000 children, over 800,000 children who die as a result of pneumonia every single year. That is one child every 40 seconds. So while we're having this press conference, many children around the world and in this country will die from pneumonia. This is a disease which is preventable. It's preventable by vaccination and by decent nutrition. But so many children around the world, about 70 million children actually, are not vaccinated against the disease. Now, this is a problem we can fix relatively easily. In this country, in Nigeria, around 40% of children are not vaccinated against pneumonia.
Pneumonia is a very, 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 very horrible disease and illness, and it is simply caused by bacteria. It leaves our Nigerian children fighting for breath as it fills their lungs with pus and fluid. It is so sad to see a child struggle for breath as his or her mother watches, unable to do anything. This disease is common among the most deprived and marginalized children in low and middle income countries like Nigeria. Once again, showing how shocking the disease can be. So for me, learning all this, I have realized I have a voice and I must use it. And I must make people aware of this pneumonia epidemic. Recognizing the need to address this, I'm so proud that Save the Children is working alongside my foundation and others in order to raise funds that can be used to target this disease.
Beyond vaccination for children to prevent pneumonia, more important is the issue of malnutrition and access to primary health care by pregnant women and nursing mothers.
It is very preventable disease. It is very, very preventable. We can prevent it from happening. We can protect our children. And we have seen direct linkage between pneumonia and nutrition. They're so directly linked that if you don't address the issue of nutrition, you will have a big problem addressing the issue of pneumonia. The low-level cadre of healthcare workers that are the community health workers, we want to ensure that they can recognize this pneumonia and they can use that cheap and affordable medicine, the so-called amoxicillin DT. They can use it to treat this pneumonia at their level and to also recognize what is beyond their capacity.
As the world marks 2019 Pneumonia Day, Nigeria government and stakeholders in the health sectors have a huge task of reducing the mortality figure from the disease. Save the Children is also working to ensure that vaccines are made available for rural dwellers. From Abuja, Tunji Oye, TV360 News.
Nigeria's first tertiary institution, Yaba College of Technology, is set to graduate 8,411 national diploma and higher national diploma students for its 33rd convocation ceremony. Rector of the college, Obafemi Omokungbe, announced this at a press conference in Lagos. He says the convocation is a week-long program starting on November 15 to November 21st, 2019. The ceremony, with the theme Ethical Values, Good Governance and Nation Building, will host the Minister of Education, Adamu, among other invited guests.
The convocation lectures slated for November 18th will be on the topic Ethical Values, Good Governance and Nation Building, to be delivered by the Honorable Justice Olubunmi Oyewole, a judge of the Court of Appeal. The venue is the Yusuf Grillo Auditorium. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, it is my pleasure to inform you that the climax of the ceremony comes up on Thursday, November 21st, 2019, where a total number of 8,411 graduates will be awarded national and higher national diploma of the college. The distinguished guest of honor of the convocation is the Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Adamu. Other expected guests are the Chairman of the Council, Prince Lateef Fagbemi San, and members of the Council, the Executive Secretary of the MBTE, National Board for Technical Education, officials of the Federal Ministry of Education, visiting heads of sister institutions, college fellows, and the Alumni Association.
Our news now will continue in just a moment. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Now, yeah?
Yes, Oga.
Okay.
Where I go come find 300 naira change?
I better try look for change now. Don't do business. Hey, Timmy. Ade, bro. I be. I beg, give me 200 naira. Make I take sort out this guy. Let's see no get change.
Take it, give us.
I said 200.
Give her 100 naira.
Yeah.
Okay, I agreed to pay 200 naira.
How much you think they carry people from that place we carry the chair?
Oga.
No, they touch me.
Now 100 naira. He agreed to pay.
Because that was what you said was the fair. Why you not go pay you? Why you they extort your customer? You see this corruption, what would they hear for news? They see for people everywhere. Now be this so. This is corruption, not in our country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Welcome back. Let's now join Annetta Felix for news in business. Hello, Annetta.
Hello, Fidelia.
So I hear the Senate is really looking at ways to end pipeline vandalism in Nigeria. Could you tell us more about this?
That's true. And one way they're doing this is by summoning the Group Managing Director of Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, says NNPC MD needs to appear before Parliament to explain all the measures being taken to check pipeline explosions in the country. Lawan said this on Tuesday after Senator Abdullahi Gobe presented the report of the ad hoc committee on pipeline explosions on the floor of the Senate. Senator Roger Okorocha, on his part, noted that the issue of pipeline maintenance must be treated as serious business. Otherwise, mischief makers will continue to shortchange the government.
NNPC must approach it from the point of business. In other words, let the pipeline issue be contracted out, just like you have trailers and tipper or whatever, trailers conveying products. Let companies now own the pipeline, take care of it. And ensure that they let the pipeline protect it themselves only to convey this product and they are paid for it. Because what I've seen in our country, Mr. President, is that people have been smart. They create problems to solve the problems and to make money, even when people are dying. If NNPC, we have this attitude that government business is nobody's business. Government property is nobody's property, so you can deal with it anytime. If somebody wants to get a contract, all he needs to do is to send somebody to blow the pipeline so they can give him the contract of $100 million. So he makes money, even if people die as a process. But if you give them this contract and say, take it and ensure that you just give me my product at this end, however you fix it, this whole thing will stop and Nigeria will be better for it.
Because this is not negligence. This is a deliberate act. They know what to do. Indeed, at that time, we recommended that they should automate their pipeline surveillance, which I think they did. So if there's any fault at any place, if they can close the valve, they know. Even when the signal are triggered, they do not do what they should do. And that is what is creating these problems. Lots of lives are being lost, almost on a monthly basis. So I listened to Senator Okorosha. Yes, good as what he said is, indeed they attempted it. For me, I think we should get the locals more involved in protecting all these pipes.
That our committee on downstream petroleum sector should invite the NNPC with a view to evaluating the measures or the plans or what they have been doing over the years to secure the pipelines. We need to know what our contracts there are, what our measures have been in place over the years, and whether there is need to review those agreements or those arrangements.
President of the Africa Export-Import Bank, Benedict Arama, says he's confident that Nigeria's land borders will be reopened before the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement comes into operation. Arama said this at the second edition of the African Investment Forum, which opened in Johannesburg, South Africa on Monday. Answering a question on the relevance of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area with the border closure by Nigeria, Arama expressed confidence that Nigeria would resolve the issues with its West African neighbors before AfCFTA's commencement in July 2020. He, however, urged Nigeria and other African countries to learn to deploy technology in monitoring activities within their borders rather than physically closing it. Oil prices rose on Tuesday, reversing early losses on hopes that U.S. President Donald Trump may signal progress on trade talks with China in a speech later in the day. Brent crude futures were up 31 cents at $62.49 a barrel after dipping to as low as $61.90 earlier in the day. U.S. crude futures was up 23 cents or 0.4% at $57.09 a barrel, and that's after having fallen to $56.055 per barrel. Worries about the impact on oil demand from the fallout of the 16th month U.S.-China trade war, which has weighed on global economic growth, sent prices lower on Monday. Trump said on Saturday that talks with China were moving along very nicely, but the United States would only make a deal if it was the right one for Washington. After this break, we'll be reviewing trade activities on the stock market. Do stay with us. The Nigerian stock market is sustaining its gains of last week with a 0.54% appreciation in the all-share index. The market cap here shows a boost of over 70 million naira from last Friday's, and that totals about 12.878 trillion naira. And moving on, let's see the percentage gainers today, starting with Cement Company of Northern Nigeria. We see Dangote Cement also on this list, Nigerian Breweries and Axis Bank all making the top four. And now Cement Company of Northern Nigeria and Axis Bank are retaining their position on the top gainers chart from last week, and we see profits of up to 9.14% and 3.80% in their share price, respectively. Now, on the other hand, we see the index draggers being WAPCO, First Bank of Nigeria Holdings, Eco Bank Transnational Incorporated, and Ikeja Hotel. And let's see the market summary. Market summary here, in comparison with Friday's, is a lower volume but a higher value, as high as 2 billion naira more from the market turnover of last week. And moving on now to our global stock, we see that, the FTSE, I beg your pardon, investors on the NSE are not the only ones smiling today. It's a bullish market all across in the US, the UK, and in Japan, with the FTSE adding gains as its ASI is up to 0.65%. And also in the Dow, investor sentiments were positive, and we saw Dow Jones Industrials gaining about 35 points. And on the Nikkei here in Japan, we see an increase of of 0.81%. And that's all from here, Fidelia.
Thank you, Annetta. Indeed, a good day for investors at Nigeria's equities market, and I dare say the world, globally, the world over. Well, let's now move to the foreign scene. A senior commander of the militant group, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PIJ, have been killed in an airstrike conducted by Israeli forces in Gaza. Baha Abu al-Atta died along with his wife when a missile hit their home. 4 of their children were also reportedly injured. The Israeli military said Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu authorized the operation against Abu al-Atta, who was accused of planning to carry out attacks on Israel. Around the same time as the attack on Abu al-Atta, 2 people were also killed with 10 others injured in an air raid on the home of another PIJ leader in the Syrian capital of Damascus. At least 150 rockets have been fired at Israel from Gaza since the killing, which PIJ has vowed to avenge. Backed by Iran, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad is one of the strongest militant groups in Gaza. And in sport, Cristiano Ronaldo would not receive any punishment for his outburst after he was substituted against AC Milan. Well, this is according to reports in Italy. Ronaldo was angered when Paulo Dybala took his place and scored the winner as Juventus beat AC Milan 1-0 on Sunday to move back to the top of Serie A. The Portuguese risk getting a 2-year ban for allegedly insulting coach Maurizio Sarri and then storming out of the stadium before due time. However, according to Italian newspaper Gazzetta dello Sport, the 34-year-old will also not be fined for his outburst at Sarri, but will be expected to apologize to his teammates for not returning to the bench. And that is on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.